So, yes guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm talking about how I almost lost my license because of this car and this foot. Now, let's get into this. So the story goes, boys, I was driving home from my partner's house at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm not saying at night time there's any excuse to be speeding than there is in the daytime. However, the risks are considerably lower, but that's not why. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm driving home on my own along the dual carriageway at night, and it is absolutely dead. And to be fair, at the moment, I'm not speeding. I'm just driving along, minding my own business, going 60 miles an hour, peaceful as anything. I then come up to a roundabout where I see a Vauxhall Corsa, a red Ford Fiesta, and then a grey Skoda Octavia. Debadged, but it was clearly the VRS version, and it looked undeniably like an Undercover Cop. However, at the time, it was 11 o'clock at night. I have to keep justifying that, and I didn't know what was going on. It could have been just a normal silver Octavia, or it could have been an Undercover Cop. These are the things that were going through my head as I saw it go around the roundabout. Anyway, go around the roundabout, absolutely fine, not speeding, not going anything exuberantly quickly, and I pull up behind it. Now we're all going up the dual carriageway, coming up to a dual lane. We're all going up a link road, towards a dual carriageway, and it says, in 500 metres dual carriageway, blah blah blah. And it was at that moment I thought, do I overtake it? Do I not? Do I just sit behind this group of traffic? However, the traffic was moving at 50 miles an hour. Now, obviously, a dual carriageway and a national speed limit on a link road is 60. So I go, no matter what, I'm overtaking at least one of these cars that are holding everyone up going 50. So we get to the dual carriageway and no one pulls out. Everyone is crawling up this hill at 50. This blue Vauxhall Corsa, the red Fiesta, and then the Skoda, they're all going 50. And I'm like, well, I'm not sitting behind all these cars going 50. So I wait a couple of seconds, I pause, I just want to judge the situation in case it is an Undercover Cop and he's waiting for someone to move and no one moves. So I'm like, okay, I'll be the guinea pig, I'll pull out. Yet again, as I'm saying this, all these red alarm bells are ringing in your ears like, why did you pull out? Why did you risk it? At the time, I didn't know it was an Undercover Cop, even in my gut feeling, boys, always trust your gut, was telling me it was an Undercover Cop. It also had one high-vis bar all the way along the bottom of the car, and I thought that was a little bit of a red sign, because I don't think they normally have them. I think they have the normal, typical, like, high-vis either corner, what's it called, reflective, like the reflectors either corner, and it had one big long one, and I was like, oh, is that been aftermarketly put on by the police as an Undercover Cop? Anyway, we move. So I pull out and I start overtaking. By the way, the dual carriageway started, we're probably about 100 metres in, no one overtook. I've then pulled out, overtook immediately. As I've gone past the Skoda, it's pulled out. And I'm like, okay, this is getting even more suspicious now. Bit weird. So I overtake. I'm overtaking at 65, which is 10% within the, the speedo allowance for inaccuracy. So it is completely legal to overtake at 65 as it is at 60 because your speedo could be 10% out. So I can technically drive up to 66, but technically because my speedo could be inaccurate, I could be driving at 60. So that is not illegal, as far as I'm aware anyway. I pull in, it keeps a very safe, exactly 2-car distance behind me, pulls in behind me. So it wasn't like, oh, I'll see if anyone else wants to overtake, and then he's going to overtake everyone. He waited for one person, me, in my actually, at the time, silver Seat Leon, pull out, because I should preference, this happened 4 years ago now. So I have a clean license now, but we'll get into that later on. Yeah, he pulls straight in behind me, and I go, that's weird, because he's followed me there. He hasn't gone, oh, I'll wait for everyone else to overtake, then I'll overtake, or we'll let that car go, he'll pull in, then I'll overtake him. He specifically waited for me to overtake, so then he could overtake right behind me and then follow me in. So I'm now cruising up the dual carriageway at 65. Now I'm like, I'm going to test this guy to see if he's following me, because at the moment I don't know he's an Undercover Cop. So I'm going to just slowly speed up to 70. He matches me up to 70. I speed up to 75. He matches me to 75. I speed up to 80. He matches me at 80. I'm like, this is getting weird now. So I suddenly brake all the way back to 60. One, for two reasons. One, if it is a cop, I'm currently speeding and he's following me. And then two, just in case he was trying to overtake me and kept like matching me, I'll slow down, try and let him pass. He doesn't pull out, he doesn't overtake, he slows down with me. It's all getting very weird, also, yet again, have to mention this, 11 o'clock at night, so it's a little bit dodgy. Not that, I'm driving along and I'm like scared, but it is a bit weird. Like, this car is just following me at the moment. Like, there is no other, like, he genuinely could not be a cop and just be following me, which is a bit weird. So I was actually genuinely a little bit on edge. So I get to the top of the hill, I go down, now the dual carriageway's ended, we're back on the link road, and I'm just cruising at 60, like, it's fine, I'm not in any rush, but I did have work the next day, and I was just sat there, overthinking everything, like, what if it is someone following me home? oh my God, like, I don't know. I'd say it was just the combination of it being dark and late and all these things where I was just getting a little bit on my own nerves. I was like, is it a cop? Isn't it a cop? Should I drive the speed limit all the way home? Should I try and get away so whatever this car is following me stops following me? I just genuinely didn't know what to do. And so I was driving along for about half a mile at 60, and he was perfectly 2 cars behind me. And I was like, this is screaming Undercover Cop, but at the same time, I don't want to risk a weirdo following me home. So I made the educated decision, which is where I almost lost my license, where I went back from 6th to 4th and absolutely floored it. Now, you can see this from a mile away, go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Jake. But at the time, I actually just wanted to know. I was like, if it's a cop, I want him to pull me over. If it's not a cop, I need to get away from this weirdo as soon as possible. So I dropped it to 4th, absolutely floored it. So it's like, it went 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And it was at this point, I was gapping him and gapping him and gapping him and gapping him. And I thought, he's trying to keep up here. Whatever this is, he's trying to keep up. So it's either a cop struggling to keep up, or the stranger's like losing me. So at the moment, I'm sort of thinking it's sort of a win-win here, because if I keep going, the cop might not be able to keep up, and if it's the stranger, I've got rid of him. Anyway, I start to go up round like a right-hand corner up, a big long sweeping right-hander, but anyway, and I'm going probably about 110, 120, allegedly, and he's almost out of shot, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe it was just a weirdo following me. And then suddenly the blue lights come on and I crap my pants, because at that moment I realised I'm currently doing 120 mile an hour, double the speed limit because I'm trying to get away, and I've just completely ruined my life. What the hell is about to happen? Luckily, this is all happened. I've now got a clean license. It's all been documented, so I can't say this on camera without absolutely screwing myself. But yeah, basically the blue lights come on, we pull into the next lay-by, and he very calmly walks up to my window and asks me to get in his car, and I understandably get in it, and he goes, I am obviously going to be writing you a ticket today. It is regarding your speeding. He said, we clocked you at an average 99 miles an hour. And why that number is so important is anything over 100, which would have been 40 mile an hour over the national speed limit, is an instant ban and 3 points, I think it is, or maybe an instant ban and 6 points. But because it was 99, right on the cusp, I didn't fall into either bracket, basically. I didn't fall into the 3 points and a fine, or 6 points and a fine, or a month ban and no points, or I didn't fall into guaranteed ban, points, fine, etc. So I get a letter 5 months later in the post to tell me, oh, by the way, this is the speeding ticket you got caught with. Do you plead guilty, non-guilty? Do you want to go to court with it? Blah, blah, blah. Well, having that I did the speed, I got pulled over for it, and they clearly had an average speedo and a video of it. I thought, there isn't much point in challenging it. So I pled guilty, and I didn't want to go to court. I was like, I don't want to go to court, just plead guilty. I did the speed. It's not like I didn't do it. Fair enough, you know, it's on me. That's my bad. So I pled guilty. I waited another 3 months after pleading guilty. Bang, your case could not be decided without you in court. Therefore, please can you go into court and plead your case. Now, why this was so terrifying is I'd never been to court. I didn't want to go to court. So I had to then show up and explain my situation. Yeah, so I had to go to court, boys, and that was terrifying. I was absolutely crapping my pants. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have gone to court and it's been absolutely fine, but I'd never been. I didn't really want to go, and it was terrifying. But everyone, I will admit, everyone was super lovely. Everyone was super nice. And so I went in, I had to plead my case, explain my reasoning for speeding, which I thought was reasonably valid. And I do think genuinely the jury did have, I think they're called the jury, genuinely did have some sort of appreciation. It was late at night, this car was just following me. I know it was an undercover cop. At the time I didn't sort of know it, but I had an understanding it probably was, but I didn't know. And I feel like they did genuinely appreciate, and I think my honesty in that I genuinely didn't know what was going on. It was obviously very stupid that my reaction to what was going on was to just speed excessively, but it was genuinely worth the you know, the conversation. So after speaking to them, after explaining my case, they sort of come back to me with like, obviously that's not the answer you should have done, but we sort of understand why you did it. Now, they gave me the choice, which I'm sure isn't normally the case, of either a ban and 3 points or 6 points and no ban, and either way a fine. I took 6 points no ban because I drive my car a lot. Obviously I love driving my car, and I have to drive my car to work, and it would have been very inconvenient for the ban. It was only a 3-month ban, not very long. And also, as far as I'm aware, you have to always disclose a ban, but you don't, after your points have gone, you don't have to disclose points. So that was one of the other things that I did sort of justify in reasoning for why I chose my points over a ban. But yes, I ended up getting 6 points, a fine, but no ban, thank God. And yes, that is the story, boys, of how I almost lost my license. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.